Hello, everybody. Welcome to another of my companion episode, companion videos for episode of A Little Night Music. Today we're doing the companion video for episode 68. Um, a lot of fun. I had a great time doing this one. Um, and I first want to do a shout out to a couple of friends here. They live one street over, and great people. They're really nice. A lot of fun. Their favorite time of year is coming, Halloween. Um, but I they had a garage sale, and I stopped over at their garage sale and bought a record, and just so much fun. So much fun. I used a lot of pieces off of this album. And as you listen to the episode rather, you will understand. Just made it a ball. Just made it a blast. But they're Lisa and Rich Gammon and family. Hello, and thank you for this wonderful album. I'm actually going to show it here now. This is called the Sensational Stereo Spectacular Demonstration Album. Okay. And I'm going to take it out so you can see it. It's a beautiful, deep, dark red color. I don't know if you can see through that. But it actually has, and I'm sure some of them look a little bit different. It actually has a little bit of marbling here. If you look at the top, it's a little bit of a yellow piece down there at the bottom. There's some yellow in there too. I'm sure other pressings of this album probably had a better marbling on it or whatever, but it's sort of a burgundy root beer color, and like I said, little bits of yellow marbling in there too. Pretty cool. But what it is it's a an album that was designed to show off the new technology known as hi-fi stereo, and it literally has bits and pieces. First off, there's a stereo checkout, uh, a stereo balancing. It's a series of clicks. First in the right channel, then in the left channel, and then in both channels. That way you can set up your stereo to make sure it's perfect pitch in both speakers, perfect stereo. Whatever. I mean, a lot of people don't do that anymore. um, but actually, as your stereo speakers get worn out and used a little bit more, they can get out of phase, out of tune. So one will be a little bit louder than the other and whatever. So you should be monitoring for perfect stereo. But anyway, so then there's a couple of excerpts from different tunes. We have 110 strings, not 101, 110 strings orchestra. There's an excerpt of a tune called Wunderbar. Little Brown Jug by Jerry Gray and his orchestra, an excerpt of that. Then there's like a train, Let's Hop on a Train, it's called. It has a series of sounds from diesel's steam engine, steam engine or diesel engine. Then we have Oh What a Beautiful Morning by Lou Raymond and his orchestra. The sound of a recording of a police raid. Then there's a excerpt of Back Home Again in Indiana by Paul Martin and his Old Timers. So there's just a lot of, and a couple of tunes that were interesting. I did use there's this. I looked all over the album. They never tell who the announcer is, but the announcer introduces Tito Rivera and his Cuban orchestra, and then Tito plays Adios. I actually used that, and I used a couple other. they're interesting little snippets of the announcer. There's actually one piece here called "Behind the Scenes at the Recording Session" and Voices of the City, and I used both of those. I happen to notice that the behind the scenes at the recording session, you'll hear a gentleman. He's kind of tuning up, a couple of times, and then he does la 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 da da da, whatever. I recognize the voice right away. One of my favorites, one of our favorites here at A Little Night Music, Mel Torme. So I stuck in a Mel Torme song right after that, and but it was definitely a lot of fun. And like I said, you'll hear it throughout the entire show. There's little snippets and pieces of the announcer talking and everything. Kind of made it a lot of fun. Then we have great tenor saxophone player here. Really was one of the original what they call honkers. Played that sort of a Texas tenor, really boisterous and loud with a lot of gravel in the voice and everything. The gentleman's name is Sam the Man Taylor. And this is an MGM Golden Archives series record. Still has the plastic on it. I love when people, they don't have the knowledge of how to cleanly get these stickers off, so they try peeling them off. Then they make a bigger mess, and then then it was somebody else bought it, and they put their own price sticker over the top of that price sticker, and you got about 3 or 4 different price stickers here making a mess. But the original plastic cellophane is still on it, and it's nice and clean and good shape. So great one. We actually play a tune called Harlem Nocturne, and if you are familiar with Mickey Spillane's Mike Hammer, you'll be familiar with that tune. Then I've been in a bossa nova mood lately, so I pulled out some bossa nova records here, and this one is a good one. As I said throughout the show, there'd be bossa nova tinge, but this is not tinged at all. This is the real deal, baby. This is Jazz Samba Encore by Stan Getz and Louis Bonfa. And this is on the Verve label. It's a real nice copy here, still clean. Little price tag up here on the back. I'm happy it's on the back instead of the front. But this is a gatefold. Here we have a little picture of in the studio. There's Mr. Getz up front here, Mr. Bonfa sitting down, and standing is the vocalist, and her name is okay, vocalist. Here we go. Maria Toledo. So, great album. I do have Jazz Samba, the original one, and several other Stan Getz albums. So and I love these this artwork. I can't remember the gentleman's name who does it. It's written here, but I can't really. Albiez, something like that. But very iconic. When you see it, people recognize right away that these are the Verves with his artwork on it. So, all right, moving forward, I used a vocal. I like to mix it up, some vocals, as you know. The first one we did was her name is Caterina Valente, and this album is actually called Plenty Valenti, and it's subtitled Singin' and Swingin'. It's on the Decca label. There's another one here that's still in the plastic. Great shape, nice clean white. She's a very good, she's actually an Italian vocalist, but she was smart enough to know that most Americans are too stupid to really realize where an accent comes from, whether it's Italian or whether it's Spanish or whatever. They're so into themselves, but they do recognize that there's a bit of a accent. So she did a lot of Spanish tunes as well, and we actually took off this one Flamingo. She does do Poinciana on this one, which I think I'll be using probably on another show somewhere. Poinciana is a real nice tune. There you go. Moving on. Fantastic jazz flautist, and this is a really good album. It's not exactly in the greatest shape, but you know what? It's good enough that I'm going to enjoy it. Here's Bossa Nova, and it's starring Buddy Collette. Also on guitar, Howard Roberts. Also on guitar, Jim Helms, Mel Poland, and Leo Acosto playing percussion. Mel Poland, I believe, is the drummer, or maybe the bass player, I'm not sure. And then gentleman who goes by the name Darius, just on here, but during the episode I mentioned his full name. But this is on Crown Records, and Crown had a nice front cover, but on the back it was just advertising for other Crown records. So there's really no information too much on the composers or the songs or the artists or anything like that. Then fantastic piano player here, Mr. George Shearing, and this is actually, when you look at it, it just looks like George Shearing Bossa Nova, but the actual, when you look it up online to get information about it, it's titled Shearing Bossa Nova. So, but it's a great little cover here. Got a bunch of coffee bean bags. Nice model in the middle there. On the back, it's a picture of Mr. Shearing. A nice little write-up here about the music, about the composers, about the arranger, Mr. Carl Fisher. So it's a great little album. And we used a track off of here. I believe we used Manha de Carnival, Louis Bonfa tune. So there you go. Moving forward, here's a little interesting album. Mr. Mel Torme, he was quite a prolific recording artist, did quite a bit of stuff, and at the urging of his label and his manager usually, he would delve into something a little more interesting, maybe a little more popish, but he absolutely hated rock and roll music. He used to call it three-chord, oh shoot, what did I say? Three-chord manure. Three-chord manure, that's what he called it. So, but occasionally he would do something like this, and you kind of think that this is not him, this is not his idea. He did this at the urging of somebody. But this was kind of a dud, this album. It's called A Day in the Life of Bonnie and Clyde. And a lot of the tunes here actually have, he did write he penned the album title, namesake track, A Day in the Life of Bonnie and Clyde. But then you have Brother Can You Spare a Dime. That's kind of a jazzy tune, but then Button Up Your Overcoat, Annie Doesn't Live Here Anymore, I Found $1 Million Baby, I Concentrate on You, which is actually the tune we used, Music Goes Round and Round, We're in the Money, Little White Lies, With Plenty of Money in You, You're the Cream in My Coffee, and then Cab Driver. So the basic gist is these are all about 1930, 1940 songs when the real life Bonnie and Clyde were doing their thing, all except for I'm sorry, 1920s, 1930s, all except for I Concentrate on You. That one is a 1940s tune, but it just never really did anything because they're just sort of weird. Even the musicians sort of play a country sort of just rhythms that are just sort of blah, and they're not really into it. You can feel that their heart's really not into the music. But again, a couple of good tunes that were actually off of this one was the music goes round and round, and then I concentrate on you. So I do think that in another episode I am going to use a tune or two off of this, just to give it a little chance for people to hear exactly what this one was all about. All right, moving on. Beautiful vocalist. I always said if she were younger today, she'd probably be a 1-900 sex phone operator, because her voice was she just had that tone. It was soft, sensual, a little husky actually, and smoky, but Julie London. And she went on actually to be actress on Emergency, so people probably remember her from that. But she was a great vocalist, did some fantastic jazz standards. A few good tunes on here. A Foggy Day, Cheek to Cheek. Sometimes I Feel Like a Motherless Child. You're Blasé. The tune that we used, Don't Worry About Me. Then we also used Blue Skies. But this particular record is kind of interesting. Again, this is on the Guest Stars record label. It's not in great shape. A little scuff here, down here, take off some of the stuff. But they kind of did it weird. They have every other song is by Julie London, and the opposite song is by Ted Comstock Orchestra. So we use two different songs off here. One that features Julie London singing, and then the other one that features just the orchestra playing. So again, we used Don't Worry About Me and Blue Skies. Alright, moving on. This one here, we're going to show this. It's on the CTI label. This is by Lalo Schifrin. And the album is called Towering Toccata. And I purposely picked this one to be on the show today. I also wanted to show it here in the video. And we're going to be using its cover art for the show, and also for the companion video. Especially perfect today because of it being 9/11, and its features on the front cover: the Twin Towers of World Trade Center, and the back cover as well has the same. And here's the list of the songs here: Towering Toccata, Francis Theme, Mukumba, Eagle in Love, the theme from King Kong, Most Wanted theme, Midnight Woman, which is actually the tune we're using, and then Roller Coaster is the last song. This is a gatefold. A nice picture of Mr. Schifrin inside there. And here is some information about the songs. Who's playing the instruments. Quite a large band here. Where it was recorded, Van Gelder Studios in Englewood Cliffs, New Jersey, and that's basically beautiful cover. All right, and then last but not least, I picked this up on eBay, and when I saw it, I knew I had to have it. It's Capitol Records, but it is recorded in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, and this features authentic Mardi Gras music by Brazil's best artists, featuring Ari Barrasso. And Ari Barrasso was a pre-bossa nova composer and arranger and writer of fantastic Brazilian music. Excuse me. But this is actually called Carnival Week in Rio, and this is recorded back. It's not in such great shape. It's but the material that's on this record is the important part here. These are all Mardi Gras or Carnival music, recorded live on the spot, on the street, on the sidewalks, and in the noisy nightclubs of Brazil's metropolis. But yeah, it's kind of interesting. I've always wanted to go to Brazil to be a part of Carnival. See it. I do play a little bit of percussion, so I'm interested in that kind of music. Um, but yeah, I used two songs off here. One song actually features Mr. Barrasso on vocals with his what's known as a coro, Coro, and then the other one has Edmilde Fonseca, and one is a march. The Ari Barrasso tune is considered a march, and the Fonseca tune is considered a samba. But fantastic, and you can hear the people cheering and screaming and laughing and having a good time. It's definitely interesting. So, alright, so that's it for our companion video. I hope you enjoyed it. I love the beautiful records, and I hope you do too. And again, shout out to the Gammons and their family there. I'm glad they had that record at their garage sale and I was able to pick it up. So, have a good one, everyone. Bye-bye.